Welcome into Last Call here on WagerTalk. It's your primetime preview. We have the Dallas Cowboys taking on the Detroit Lions. Now, both of these teams coming in off different situations. We did see the Dallas Cowboys winning their last two big wins as well, you guys, winning over the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs in back-to-back games. And then the Detroit Lions off a disappointing loss on Thanksgiving Day to the Green Bay Packers. Now, looking at the opening lines on this game, it was a 5.5 for Detroit. We now have this line sitting at a 3.5 for Detroit still. As for that total, 53.5, that opening look, we're now seeing 55s, 54.5s even out there. So you definitely got to shop those lines. Open up your odds logic page. Make sure you shop for the best lines in your area to get the best value, guys. But we got a great show today here on Wager Talk. So make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. And if you want to become a member, definitely a great time to become a member of Wager Talk. But we got a great show. We've got Carmine Bianco coming in first, and then Sean Alvarez to go over everything that they're liking in these games. And don't forget, if you're looking for the best bets from all of the handicappers over on Wager Talk, you want to head over to wagertalk.com. Lots of great specials going on right now. We'll hear from these guys, what they have going on, what kind of picks you can grab from them. But let's bring in Carmine Bianco. Let's talk out this Thursday night football game, you guys. Make sure you get live in the chat. Drop your questions, drop your comments. We're going to try to get to each and every single one of them. Seeing you guys jumping in already. Absolutely appreciate you, but let's bring in Carmine.
I am here, Joe. I am excited to be here. Unlike End Zone Live on Sundays, it's going to be me leaving 15 minutes early and you staying here to finish the show because I'm meeting some friends, Cowboys and Lions friends. So it is going to be a heated night between my buddies who are two of them. It's going to be a table divided, 6 guys, 2 of them Cowboy fans, 4 of them Detroit fans. We'll see what happens.
Okay, so
I'm not
tell me
taking
the
any part in
losers
it.
have to pick up the tab, right? Like if Dallas loses, are those guys picking up the tab?
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be part of that tab, and I'm going to say if those 4, if Dallas loses, 2 of you guys got to pick up the tab, and if the Lions lose, then the other guys pick up the tab, and I get a tab for free. But because I had because I haven't played the game, but for those in our chat, and I see Ethan in there. How's it going, Ethan? I am going to say that in the Circa contest, I put in my 5 picks early because I want to take a part of this game, and and Detroit's -3 in the Circa contest, so I have that going for me. 5 weeks left in the Circa contest. I need to make a run and get. We're just outside of the money bubble, but I want to go a little higher than that, and also maybe win the last quarter, 150K. I could use that. But let's talk some football, Joe. Where do you want to start? Like, I'm looking at props.
Okay. Well, I just want to know, you brought up St. Brown. He is back in the lineup. No one knew if he was going to be playing or not. Are you shocked we really didn't see this move to a 4, even for the Lions? Like, come on. St. Brown, a huge impact out here for this team.
Oh, 100%, a huge move. Unfortunately, I didn't think he was going to be playing. And, when I was playing some props and I listed 3 of them that I'm going to discuss on today's show, one of them was based on the fact that Amon St. Brown wasn't going to be playing. And that was the Jahmyr Gibbs receiving yards, over 40.5 receiving yards. That's now dipped to 33.5. That's how much of a change it makes. I figured he was going to be he was going to get some targets. He was going to be a big part of it. And you could still go over that number, but I've got the worst of it at this point because I've got over 40.5 and he's 33.5. But from the other part of it, I don't mind losing a prop bet if it turns out that the Lions end up winning the game and covering the 3 points for my obviously for my Circa contest and for anyone out there who's got the Detroit Lions.
Well, I'm going to keep my fingers crossed here for you with the Detroit Lions. We saw that game versus the Packers. What made you pick the Lions in the Circa contest, though? Because we know the Cowboys rolling in so hot. But are people just over expecting out of the Cowboys? We know this team, 3-4 weeks ago, there was so many memes about them, right? Then they beat the Eagles, then they beat KC, and everyone's forgot how they looked before the trade.
Yeah, they have, but they beat a couple teams that are kind of struggling right now. The Eagles obviously are struggling. We'll see what they do on Monday night when they make the trip out to LA to face the Chargers. And then you have KC. We know what kind of a season it's been for KC. It's been an up and down one, and right now they're on the outside looking in. But you can only beat, kind of like the New England Patriots, you can only beat who they put in front of you. You can't complain about the schedule because you had no part in putting it together. The NFL does that. With that said, the Cowboys at home have been very good. On the road, I'm a little more leery of it. Going into Detroit is going to be tough. And this is, the one, and everyone knows this, the one variable of this whole game is Dan Campbell. What is Dan Campbell going to do to screw things up? And when I was putting my play in today, that's the first thing I thought was, do I want to lay 3 with Dan Campbell? Is he going to gamble? And I'm relying on him to gamble with one of my props, which I'm going to mention at the end of the 3 props. I'm expecting him to gamble, but it is so tough because I get it. Sometimes you want a coach to go for it, but I'm a big proponent of you don't give up great field position to teams. I get it. You want to go for a 4th down on the 45-yard line or at midfield, but if it doesn't go your way and you run the exact same play on 4th down as you ran on 3rd down, and then all of a sudden they're starting, Green Bay starting at the 50-yard line. It is a field position game, and if you rely on your defense, you punt that ball away. You try and get them within the 10-yard line or whatever, lock them down there, and make them go 90 yards to beat you instead of 50 yards to beat you. I think it's the same as giving away points when you give away field position. And everything that worked for Dan Campbell, Joe, last year is not working for Dan Campbell this year.
No,
we love it when a coach gambles and you win, but we don't like it when they don't. It's kind of like being with your friend in Vegas. You love being beside him when he is hitting that blackjack table and making a ton of money. But when he goes on that run where he is just losing and turns to you and says, "Can I borrow 500?" You don't feel too good about it.
Never lend your friends money. Hopefully you're singing Dan Alvarez like the Prez sings Sean Alvarez, or Dan Campbell like the Prez sings Sean Alvarez. That's what I was trying to say later in the night, not cursing his name. I think he should be able to have this team ready. But let's jump into some of those player props that you're liking. You guys in the chat, make sure you do drop those questions for Carm. Where are we going with these player props?
So, the first one that I liked and that I played was the George Pickens over 5.5 receptions, minus 136. He's become, and as Dallas has gotten better playing the last few weeks, he's become a huge target for them. Obviously, they love to key in on CeeDee Lamb. They don't want CeeDee Lamb to beat them. So it's usually their best safety on him in coverage. But George Pickens, look at his last 5 games: 7 receptions, 6, 9, 9, and 6. And that's on 9, 9, 11, 9, and 13 targets. He's at 5.5 right now. It's a little viggy, as I call it, at minus 136, but I don't mind laying the price because that if you're expecting, and it's a high total, if you're expecting a high scoring game, and especially if Detroit gets the lead, that Dak's going to be passing and he's going to be looking for his main guys. And George Pickens has been that. And, he's you look at it, he's been a big part the last 5 weeks, as I mentioned. If they were going to give him extra coverage, they would have done it the last couple of games, and he's still picked up 7 and 6 on 9 targets in each game. So the over 5.5, I like that one, minus 136. I don't mind paying the vig in this spot.
Oh, I think it's a great way to go with George Pickens. Any thoughts on him getting in the end zone for this game? I was tempted to look at George Pickens. We know he's a great target out there in the end zone for Dak as well, but is there enough value, right? Like you're getting it right around plus like 105, plus 115. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm looking for it right now. And yeah, I see it like on DK, he's at plus 120. Obviously, it's insane, the price on Jahmyr Gibbs at minus 260. I would never play a minus 260 anytime touchdown scorer, even if the total was set at 70.
Yeah.
like a college football total. I would never play you're just going to go broke
Yeah.
playing those big prices. One that you could look at is Javonte Williams, but he's like
Mhm.
minus 140 now. He was at plus money midweek, and by midweek I'm talking like Tuesday. CD Lamb plus 115, Amon St. Brown plus 115. He's in the lineup, but Pickens plus 120. I could completely see that. If you're expecting him to catch passes, you're hopeful that you might actually get a TD out of it as well too.
Okay, before we move on to your next prop, I gotta ask you about Dak. Dak Prescott, his touchdown to interception ratio, he's got what, 8 interceptions on the season, 25 touchdowns. His anytime INT in this game, Carm, minus 138. Are you sprinkling? I'm sprinkling on Detroit's defense for pick six. Yet to get one this year. You know I love him. Plus 700.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get it. It could happen, but
Good.
I'm not going to. I hope for you it does, because if Dak gets intercepted, it's also obviously good for my Detroit
Yeah.
play as well too. I'm not going to take it just because Dak's played pretty good. I know he gets a ton of heat. He really, really does. But I was looking at like there was one report out on like I think it was like the top 100 categories and certain players that fit into those categories, and Dak was like first in 2 or 3 of those categories as far as like QBs go, which was a little surprising because you figure it's going to be guys like Stafford that are going to be in there, or Josh Allen that are going to be in there, but Dak was in there. He's having a good time of it right now. They got a tough schedule to try and close out. I hate to use the word must win, but it seems like this is a must win for both teams tonight. When Joe, when someone says to me, this is a must win, I want to bet against whoever the must win is, but there isn't one tonight because they're both must wins. So with that said, you can't bet the tie, although the Cowboys were involved in the only tie this season with the Green Bay Packers at 40 all. Go figure.
Yeah, we almost had it Sunday night. I swore that game was never going to finish, but we did see Washington go for the 2 points instead of kicking the field goal or the extra point there. So let's jump into the rest of everything you've got here, because I know you got to head out the door. You got to get to the popcorn.
Yeah, Jahmyr, obviously the Jahmyr Gibbs one, as I mentioned, I wouldn't recommend playing it right now. I'm paying 7 yards more than I should have had to. I could have waited on that one, but I didn't think St. Brown would be playing. The longest field goal. Now, this is one where the Dan Campbell gambling comes in. The longest field goal, Dallas is minus 105. I'm going to take that one. Listen, I get it. Jake Bates is good for Detroit. At home, I think he's 8 of 12 from 40 yards. He's 4 of he's 8 from 40 yards plus. He's 4 of 7. And 50 yards plus, I think he's 3 for 5 from 50 yards plus. Obviously, Aubrey, best kicker in the game right now. 9 for 9 on the road this season. Field goals made, 3 of 3 from 50 yards plus. The difference here is the Dan Campbell factor. Does he gamble when they have the ball at the 35-yard line because he's trying to get closer? He's trying to get a TD, and he passes up, excuse me, on those longer field goals. The Dallas Cowboys are going to collect points whenever they can, unless they're behind by a couple of scores. Aubrey minus 105, longest field goal. I like that one.
Great logic behind that. I never would have thought to take the longest field goal against Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions for all of those reasons. Carm, it completely makes sense. So great prop there. What do you got for sale for us over at WagerTalk?
Sorry, I had to mute myself to cough there. I almost felt like I swallowed a fly.
Oh,
but
no.
No, NHL action for me tonight. No NFL going. You guys know I like the Detroit Lions, obviously, at the 3. And NHL, I have a 5% play up tonight. If you use the code NHL10, that's NHL10, you'll get $10 off that package price. 6-1 last month with 5% plays, and we're going to look to keep it rolling. 2-0 with my NHL package last night. So let's see if we can keep it rolling.
Ooh, that was a hard night last night. So congratulations on going 2-0 on that slate. I swear it absolutely killed me, but got a great slate of games out there on the ice tonight. So you guys head on over to wagertalk.com to grab those plays. But Carm, thanks so much. Let's go Lions. I'm going to be cheering for you. That's where my money's at as well. And I'm also banking on the fact that you're not going to have to pay a bill tonight. So good luck with that.
Yeah, Joe, thank you very much. I'm hopeful, and the game's already started, Joe, and I know you follow these ones. I post them on Instagram all the time, but on puck time, 11 o'clock every morning, live on Wager Talk TV, I do a pod play, and the pod play's been pretty good. I took the Rangers tonight, plus 131, and I see they're up 1-0 in the first period, but that's still early. So let's see if we can keep the ball rolling there. But thanks to everyone for tuning in. Thanks, Joe. You're doing an excellent job. And you've got the great Sean Alvarez coming up. So I'll let you go.
I love it. Yeah, you guys don't go anyway. Carm, best of luck in all your bets tonight. Enjoy the game.
Take care.
Thank you. Okay, guys, that was Carmine Bianco. Go on over to wagertalk.com to grab those NHL plays he has up. Don't forget about that special that he's running right now. All you have to do is use promo code NHL10 to get $10 off. It's a later game, so make sure you head on over to grab that, wagertalk.com again. Now, looking at this game, you guys, the line's still sitting right around the 3.5 there for the Detroit Lions. We are seeing a couple more 55.5 when we started the show, more 54.5, but across the board, except for the Hard Rock, I'm seeing 55.5. So money is definitely coming in on that over. But we're going to bring in a Sean Alvarez. He's going to come at you with his props that he's liking in this game too. Let's bring him in.
Joe, I appreciate you having me on. Two of my favorite people at Wager Talk. We're going to have to rename the name of this show to Wager Talk Canadian Last Call. I feel like I'm either on with you, Carmine, or Prez, surrounded by Canadians, but always a good time. And on top of that, I was listening to your pick six prop bet. You're the kind of person I would love to sit down with in Vegas and watch games, because you always have some exciting props. When something, I wouldn't necessarily say weird happens, but when something out of the script, if you will, happens, you kind of look over to Joe and see if she's got a big old plus money ticket on that one.
Well, I'd be jumping up on that table and hooting and hollering. I'd probably be kicked out if that hit when I was in the casino. So, but always a lot of fun. I love looking at when the books really are juicing the quarterback to throw that interception to then look at the defensive prop. So always a fun way to go, but you're coming at us with a ton of stuff tonight. Firstly, do you have anything that you were leaning towards on the side?
Yeah, it sounds like me and Carm are going to go a little head to head. It's not a client play, but I like the Dallas Cowboys in this spot. I think the Lions are coming in with a really banged up offensive line. Jared Goff hasn't necessarily looked all that great over the last few weeks. And so I do think that the Dallas Cowboys get a little bit of pressure on Jared Goff, maybe, force him into some bad throws. I know Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to go, but dealing with an ankle injury that he sustained last week and then going again, in just a week after the Thanksgiving day, I don't think he's going to be 100%. And I like the way that this Dallas Cowboys team has looked. Javonte Williams is running well. CeeDee Lamb and Pickens are two of the best duo receivers in the NFL. And Dak Prescott's kind of turned the corner from what I've expected of him in years past, and to start the season. So I'm going to take the plus 3.5. I was going to take the plus 3 anyways. We're getting a little bit of the hook with St. Brown, going tonight. But yeah, I'm going to lay it with Dallas, the plus 3.5. I'm slightly rooting for Carmine. Always rooting for friends, especially in the circa millions. But yeah, I'm on Dallas tonight. Actually think kind of wrong team favored.
Ooh, wrong team favored here. That's what I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you about the money line price here for the Dallas Cowboys, because you're looking at a team that was a home dog in their last 2 games, and they beat the teams that were in the Super Bowl last year, the Eagles and KC. Which win impressed you more, or did both of them impress you the same?
I think it was kind of more the Eagles. I do get that the Eagles, aren't winning games, aren't putting away opponents like we expected Super Bowl champion teams to do. But I'm kind of down on KC. They just haven't looked that great to me. I'm still waiting for them to kind of turn it around like they've always done in years past. But obviously, that boat's starting to sail away for KC. So I was a little bit more impressed with beating the Eagles. The way that Dak Prescott went for 354 yards, Javonte Williams running for 87. I just like the way that this offense is clicking. I mean, George Pickens 146 yards against those corners. I get that defense isn't the same defense as last year, but you still got to execute against the Super Bowl defending champions. So a little bit more impressed with that Eagles victory.
Okay, so where are we going with your first prop here, Sean? I know you've got a couple for us. You guys make sure you do drop those questions, those comments in the live chat here for Sean Alvarez. We'll try to get to each and every one of them. But first prop, what's making us money tonight?
Yeah, so I mean, me in shows past, I don't really like to lean on those big props as far as the receiving and rushing totals. So I looked at the backup tight end Ross Dwelly getting the start here with their tight ends a little bit banged up. He only has one catch on the year, so he's not necessarily a receiving tight end or a deep threat in that passing game. But like I said, this offensive line is banged up. I think Jared Goff is going to get a little flustered. And so I think that the Lions offensive play calls, let's get the ball out of Jared Goff's hands early on short passes and often. Obviously, they're going to utilize Jamison Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown as well as Jahmyr Gibbs. But, let's get that tight end, maybe one, maybe two catches. He only has to go over 15 yards, and we're getting even money at plus 100. So that's the first prop that I'm going to go to, hoping that, we see a little bit of Ross Dwelly get utilized. And because obviously Dallas is going to lean on, is trying to stop St. Brown, Williams, and Gibbs in this Lions offense.
Now, you guys shop those lines because I am seeing FanDuel's got a 10.5, Sean. So for his receiving prop. So definitely some better numbers out there, but he should be able to get over the 15.5. Love where you're going with that. What else are you going to be looking at?
Yeah, so, kind of the way that I handicapped the game was I really thought that Detroit was, going to struggle a little bit offensively with the injuries that they're dealing with on the offensive side of the ball. So I kind of was leaning on Dallas and, getting that clock to continue running when they have the football, shorten the game, keep the ball away from Detroit. So I liked Javonte Williams over 70 rushing yards at plus 106. He's been, a bell cow for the Dallas Cowboys. He has 198 carries with the closest running back only having 20 carries. So they're not going to, substitute him out of the game to get some fresh legs in. They're going to keep giving him the ball. So over 70 rushing yards, and we're not having to swallow juice. I got it at plus 106.
Oh, I like where you're going there. Plus 106. That's a really nice price. Now we do have a question in the comments here asking if you like Dallas. Isn't it better to get on them the first half?
Yeah, I could see that. But this is also, obviously you're hearing how I'm handicapping the game and how I think the game's going to go. But, this is still a very electric Detroit Lions offense where, it really only takes one or two big plays and then maybe they don't move the ball again, but they put up 14 points and maybe Dallas, only gets up 10. And I like the full game. And because I'm getting the 3.5, that's why I went with, the point spread instead of the money line. If St. Brown was ruled out, I think this line goes to 2.5, and then it's a whole different ball game. I'm probably playing the money line instead.
Okay, so what are you thinking of the total in this one? We got a high total. Is it too high though?
Yeah, and I mean, we even talked about it on End Zone Live on Sunday. As far as Dallas and Detroit goes, it's you almost can't hang a total high enough. But I don't mean to continue with the broken record, but we've seen the way the Chargers offense struggled when Joe Alt went out, when they basically were looking at third and fourth string offensive tackles to start. And so I kind of see the same thing with the Lions. I think they're going to struggle to move the ball. They're going to lean on big plays with Gibbs, Williams, and St. Brown. So if anything, I'd be leaning under the total.
Yeah, 55.5. You guys, you can get to the under. You're going to get slight plus money on the under 55.5, because it does feel like the whole world is on the over. I do think if you like this one, though, to the under, I don't think you're going to get a much higher number, because I think we're going to start off slow in this one, Sean. I can't see that fast start where we got something crazy in that first quarter where we're going to see this one inflate. But if at some point it does inflate to 60, I'll definitely be coming back in on that under. Defensively, we know Aiden Hutchinson, he can ruin a game out there for Dak Prescott. But on the other side, Quinnen Williams has been so impactful since the trade, picking him up here by the Dallas Cowboys. What do you think of the sack props? Is that something you ever get into? You know that I like these weird props, so I got to throw them out always.
I like it more when they're giving me the team. I'm not necessarily leaning on one player or another. I don't want to deal with, a half sack, or maybe the quarterback squeaks out, but somebody, grabs a shoelace and he goes down and doesn't get credit. So if anything, I'm looking at team sacks. I don't necessarily get those lines here in Vegas outside of, playoffs or Super Bowl type games. So I kind of stay away from that. I do like, as far as defensive stuff, I do like, team interceptions or interceptions thrown by certain quarterbacks. I'm not leaning on anything like that here. Maybe Goff, because like I said, he doesn't have the offensive line. Quinnen Williams gets home, puts some pressure on him. But yeah, I'm going to need a juicy number to lay something like that.
Yeah, and you're going to have to lay the juice like crazy at -138 on Aiden Hutchinson. You brought up Jared Goff. I got to quickly just mention the fact that in that last game versus the Packers, he actually had one rush, 24 yards he was able to get with his legs. I can't even find a rushing prop on him. Jared Goff's not going to do that again in this game, right? His offensive line is beat up, though, but Jared Goff can't run like on the daily.
Yeah, I mean, those things are, broken coverage. Secondaries turned their back, racing downfield to catch the receivers, and nobody realizes that Jared Goff is running downfield. So yeah, I think there's a reason why that the prop's not there. It's probably you can only play the over, you can't play the under.
So you used to be a San Diego Chargers fan. Didn't it look like Phillip Rivers running in that game when Jared Goff started running? I didn't know what I was watching for a second there, Sean.
Yeah, you almost have to pay attention to the sideline because he looks like he's moving in slow motion, but somehow he's still, making progress and whatnot. Definitely looked like a Phillip Rivers run, but, on top of that, Phillip used to get, 10, 15 yards a game. I mean, he would escape the pocket as awkward as it would look.
It always looks so awkward. Phillip Rivers looked awkward in many situations, including how he passed that ball off with that little shuffle from the side. But Sean, you've given us your props. You've told us what you like in this game. You're rolling with the Dallas Cowboys plus the 3.5. Not a client play though, you guys. But what have you got for sale over on WagerTalk.com?
Yeah, so I mean, we've got championship weekend in college football, obviously NFL gearing up to lead into the playoffs. I've got 2 plays up tomorrow for the college football slate, 1 play up for Saturday. And we've got a great deal over at WagerTalk where for $149, you get all of my bowl plays. So we've got 47 bowl games, including college football playoffs. Obviously, I'm not going to have 47 plays, but if I've got 20, 15, 25 plays, it pays for itself. And then you're also going to get this weekend's college football plays as well. So jump in on that. And then I've also have my horse racing cards up. I've got Aqueduct up for tomorrow. Big racing card. I believe it's 5 graded stakes races on Saturday. We'll be doing fairgrounds next weekend, the weekend after Gulfstream. And then ironically enough, I call the day after Christmas New Year's Day because it's opening day at Santa Anita. Malibu Day, it's probably the biggest day at Santa Anita. So if you like horse racing, I've been crushing my top pick winners. I believe I'm at 19% ROI with a 23% win rate. Had a really good last couple weekends. So go over and get not only my bowl plays, but my horse racing packages as well.
Yeah, you're absolutely crushing it over there, Sean. Well, I want to wish you all the best on the track as well as in the Thursday night football game and your bowl games. It's a great season right now, right? December is a fantastic month for sports betting. So absolutely crush the books. And thanks again for joining us here on Last Call.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me on. And I assume I will see you Sunday.
I will see you Sunday.
Sounds good.
See you then, Sean. Okay, guys, that was Sean Alvarez. Make sure you check out everything he's got going on over at WagerTalk.com. Like he was saying, his college football bowl all access pass is only $149. He's probably going to have 40 something games out there, probably I'd say he probably has 20, 25, maybe even 30 plays. Who knows? But for $149, it's going to pay for itself for sure. So again, Sean Alvarez was grabbing the Dallas Cowboys plus the 3.5. He liked Williams for 70 plus rushing yards. Dwelly coming out for 15 plus receiving yards. Now you can also get him on FanDuel. There's a 10.5 out there. So the books on these props, some of them really do have off numbers like that. I was looking, the rest of the board was right around that 15 too. Carm came in. He did give you the Detroit Lions is his circa pick, laying the 3.5. So the guys are going head to head in that. He's got George Pickens over 5.5 receptions. He did put in Gibbs because he didn't know St. Brown was going to be in the lineup earlier this morning. He put Gibbs in over the 40.5 receiving yards. And then that longest field goal made by the Dallas Cowboys. So love where those guys are going. We'll see who comes out on top of things. Wanted to update you as well. Carm was rolling with the Rangers tonight in the NHL for one of his client plays. Rangers now up 2-0 over the Ottawa Senators. This is why you guys want to go over to WagerTalk.com and grab those multi-sport packages from these guys. Don't want to miss out. It's weird. Across the ice right now, we do have a 2-0 lead for the Rangers, 2-0 lead for the Bruins, 2-0 lead for the Toronto Maple Leafs and Florida and the Predators yet to score. But great games out there on the ice tonight. Any last questions, make sure you do drop them in the comments. I'm just going to go over everything that I'm liking out here tonight in Thursday Night Football. Now, I'm with Carmen this one. I did lay the 3.5 with the Detroit Lions. I think this is a buy low spot on this team. You look at them coming in off that loss to the Packers, and I know the Dallas Cowboys are rolling in so hot, but I still have that angst against the Dallas Cowboys that I do think they're better at home than they are out on the road. And I think Jared Goff is going to find a way to exploit a secondary that has looked better. The defense has looked better since the trade and picking up these two guys. But I think we're going to see Jared Goff get things right with the Detroit Lions. Dan Campbell makes those aggressive calls, and I'm looking for them to fall his way tonight, and that's not to be cursing them. So I'll take the Detroit Lions laying the 3.5. If Dallas comes out and scores right away in this game, a live betting opportunity, of course, jumping back in on the Detroit Lions when they become that underdog role. If Dallas scores first, I think this is going to be right around that -110 either side. We'll see what the books do, but even at -110, I jump in on the Lions on the money line. If you're getting them at plus money on that money line, I would buy there as well. I do think they're able to get the win. Now, I think this is a fascinating game because I think it's that tight that we could see this one go to OT because these teams, like Carmine said, both need the win. They have to come out strong in this. Dallas has been playing so solid. I think they're going to push the Detroit Lions and Jared Goff in this game. So I'll look at this one. Maybe sprinkle go to overtime. Not sure if I'm going to get there before we kick off this one, but I am looking at the defensive props. I think Aiden Hutchinson and Quinnen Williams have every ability to get the sack. If you parlay those two together, you guys, because you can't bet Aiden Hutchinson separately, it's coming in at plus 352. Now, defensive props, it is hard to get those players to get the sack. They can record a half a sack, like the guys were saying. So if you want something that I feel is like a little bit more concrete, we've got a high total, 55.5. I do think it probably stays under the 55.5 because I'm expecting more out of the Lions defense than we've seen over the last couple of weeks. But I still think we're going to see those passing touchdowns come in. The problem is the books also believe those passing touchdowns are coming in. Jared Goff over 1.5 passing touchdowns, -205. You got Dak Prescott over 1.5 passing touchdowns and -174. If you like parlays, you can parlay them together coming in at plus 115. I would be shocked if either of these guys don't get those passing touchdowns on the board. I do think that is going to be the recipe for success in the end zone, as both of these teams having to pass that ball. So I've parlayed them already at plus 115. I also did look at Gibbs in the way that I'm liking his longest rush. I look at the Cowboys defense and I think they're stronger against the run than their secondary is going to be tonight. If you look at Gibbs for his longest rush, because I do think he has success for a long one, is coming in at 16.5. Now, I love where Carm went with Gibbs with those receiving yards. I still think they hit, even though St. Brown is in the lineup. I would look, though, at these players for their longest reception instead of looking at their receiving yards. They are sky high for receiving yards, you guys. CeeDee Lamb at 84.5. George Pickens at 83.5. Williams at 63.5. Gibbs at 33.5. And I still think Gibbs can get there. But looking at their longest receptions, and this is where I love going. If Dak is trailing, we know he has the arm to get it to CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb has the hands. He has the ability, has the speed. He's able to break protections out there. So over 25.5 for CeeDee Lamb for his longest reception. I love. And then you're looking at Jameson Williams over 27.5 for his longest reception. Another great way to go. So I'm taking those longest receptions, you guys. I'm laying it here with the Detroit Lions. Where am I going to go with that total? I think it goes under the 55.5. I think it's a little high, you guys. And this game, it feels really like it could be 28-25 style game, just staying under the 55.5. Actually, that puts us over the 55.5, right? 25, 50. No, keeps us under. See, doing math in my head here on a Thursday night, December 4th. You guys, yeah, I'm staying under. I got to stay under 55.5. I just think this high is so high. If it goes higher, if it hits 60, I definitely come in on the under. But I think this game starts off slow, and I think it's going to drop to a 52.5 really quick. If this game hits 49.5, give me the over. I think we could have a really nice opportunity to middle it. I think we get 50, 52, 53 points at most. We stay under the 55. So hit over 49.5, stay under 55.5. Keeping my fingers crossed Dan Campbell doesn't do something crazy. You guys, all the best in all of your bets. Again, thank you so much for joining us here on Last Call for your primetime preview. Crush it tonight. Make sure you head on over to WagerTalk.com to grab the best bets from Carm, Sean, Alvarez, and everyone at WagerTalk. You don't want to miss out on all of the great deals happening right now. But you guys, we'll see you next time. Till next time, stay hot and let's make some freaking money.